What's up, y'all? What's up? What's going on? What's going on? Quick live, right quick. I just came across this video. Well, I came across this interview that Umar Johnson was doing the other day. And this caller called in and had a question for him. The caller basically asked Umar, do he think that we should, as black people, do you think we should withhold our vote because Donald Trump and Joe Biden was pretty much not going to do anything for us? That's what the question was, pretty much. That's not a quote, but that's the concept of the question. So what I'm going to do, because I found Umar's response very disturbing. As a black man who want to lead the black community, some of the things he was saying, I totally disagree with him. There were some things I did agree with him on, but there was a couple of things that I couldn't figure out. Why was he saying this? Why did he feel the way he felt about black people and some of the things he was doing? So what I'm going to do, what's up, Charles? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the part of the interview when the guy asked the question, and I'm going to break it down as we go along. So let's go. Hold on one second. I have to disconnect my Bluetooth first, which I forgot to do. So give me 1 second.
So what's going on in New Orleans, man? We have Dr. Umar Johnson on the phone line with us. You have a question?
You know that I'm on the airline?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Yes, Dr. Johnson, how you doing?
Peace and love, bro.
Yes. Everybody talk about these political elections now. What's the best strategy?
What's going on, Mark?
Two races running for the same presidential position. Is it best to vote for the lesser two evils or just for blacks to sit this one out until we get something that works for our votes?
Someone said there's a quote that says the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. So the answer to the question of what are we going to get in this election, it's the same answer you got in the last election, the one before that, and going all the way back to the first black man who voted after they passed the 15th Amendment. You're going to get nothing out of it because we don't understand how to leverage elections to benefit the community.
Now, this part right here, before he go into detail what he's talking about, this part right here is where he starts to go left with me, that is, where I really start to disagree with him, because here I am sitting here as a black man, and I have seen several things change from black people using their financial power. Now, I'm not saying we've been perfect throughout the years, but we have used our financial power to make change. But let y'all listen to what he's saying.
One, we shouldn't be voting as Democrats or Republicans. If you're doing that, you're already lost because you're using your power to benefit a white platform and a white agenda. We should be voting as independent, an independent base of black voters. That's what we should be doing.
Now, this part right here, I totally agree with him on. I think black people shouldn't be Republicans and they shouldn't be Democrats. They should be independents. And this is the problem we have, because we do tend to lean Democratic a lot, because Democrats tend to do the things that we need done with the social programs and stuff like that. So yes, we do lean left, but I do agree with him that we should all be independents. We should not be a Republican and we should not be a Democrat. That's one thing I do agree with.
We should have also financed the campaign of the person who we want to get elected. Not do that. Black people never leverage their money to political victory. We don't do that. We've never got it. That is the Achilles heel of black America. Let me take that back. We haven't been there in about 100 years. We economic power in nearly 100 years.
Now, that's the part where I totally disagree with him. Because this brother so-called want to be a black leader in the black community, right? Now, it's obvious he don't know history. But then again, he knows history, but he leaves out part of the history. I think the brother forgot about the bus boycott. I think he forgot about the lunch sit-ins. I think he forgot about all the things that blacks did back in the heyday of the 60s and the 50s to exercise their financial power. That's one reason why they changed the busing system in Montgomery, because black people was boycotting. Black people was not spending their money to ride the bus. And that broke the back of that boycott. That broke the back of those white bus owners who didn't want blacks to ride in the front of the bus. So Umar, you goes back to Tulsa, true enough, or Black Wall Street, which I understand the reason why he did that, but he forgets everything in between. We have used our financial power to get political gain in this country. But these are the type of people that are leading us. They're leading us and they don't know history, or they've forgotten history, which is not good. But let's go and listen to some more.
To bring about a transformation of reality for black people. We are not interested in that. Black people don't want to hear nothing about using my disposable income for anything other than clothes, hair, homes, cars, vacation, white women, sneakers, jeans, and stuff like that.
But see, right here, when he names all that stuff, I think Umar is kind of confused a little bit. Because Umar is stuck in the ghetto with the people he deals with. There's a lot of black people who use their influence, their money, and their power to gain political gain in this country. Robert Smith, billionaire. What did he do? He paid off the loans of black males who graduated from Morehouse. See, Umar is more one of these drama queen type people. He wanted to bring up the worst part of the black community to make himself look better. But there's a lot of good, positive things going on in this country today with black people in charge. And I think Umar is really forgetting about all that positive stuff that goes on in the cities, especially the inner cities, where you have black mayors running those cities. That's progress. But if you listen to Umar, we haven't made no progress whatsoever. We're still living back in the slavery days where we shouldn't vote. We didn't have a vote. But let's go on.
Until we are ready to leverage our money to bring about political results, we'll never get free. Every group uses economic power. Black people are the only people who do not use economic power to bring about political transformation. We want to vote, march, and pray. Vote, march, and pray. Vote, march, and pray. You'll never get nowhere with that. You have to use your money in order to make change.
I agree.
Well, Umar, let me tell you something, Umar. Do you realize that almost every major urban city has a black mayor or a black police chief? Chicago, Atlanta, San Francisco, Houston. Those are major cities. DC. These are major cities that black people have voted for to embrace black government. So why are you forgetting about those cities? Why are you forgetting about those mayors who are leading their cities and they're black? They're not white, they're black. And that comes from voting. That comes from having a say-so in your political system. That's where that comes from. It's not coming from not voting. If you didn't vote, you wouldn't have these black people in power. See, this is something I really dislike about these so-called black leaders like Umar Johnson. They want to blame white people for everything. They want to deny that we have gained so much over the years. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that we have done a lot with Bark Hearts, with holding our finances and economic wise. We have done a lot to improve ourselves over the years. What you think MLK died for? MLK died for protesting and leading marches and withholding black dollars from businesses. That's what he did. But see, Umar don't love MLK. That's not his cup of tea. So he's not going to talk about MLK and what he did for black people by leading the marches and withholding, getting in the bar card, withholding black dollars from businesses to make that change. Umar, let me ask you a question, Umar. Do you realize how the Civil Rights Bill came about? Do you realize how that came about? Well, one of the reasons that came about, MLK, his marching, him making people understand that we have to withhold our dollars to get what we want. That's what MLK did. But see, Umar, you're such a hater of MLK that you won't talk about him and what he did. And that's why you go from Tulsa, Black Wall Street, to today. You skip everything in between because you don't care about MLK. Only thing you care about is Marcus Garvey. No hate, no Marcus Garvey, but if I had to pick two people, one person who actually made a change for the black community, it wouldn't be Marcus Garvey. It'll be MLK. But you don't want to talk about him, though. You don't want to talk about what he did for the black community. But let's go on.
But I think that we should select our candidates and support our candidates before the election. You know, if we didn't get elected, that's right. Don't wait till we get to the, let's go ask what you're going to do for you, how to vote for you. No, you make your demands for an independent candidate.
We're supposed to be there at the beginning.
That's right.
When those candidates first start announcing their intentions to run, there needs to be meetings, conversations on platform, concessions, how much money we're going to give to that candidate in order to put forth the agenda items that we need to get completed. We don't need a black political party. We don't even need a black politician. What we need is black dollars in order to hold the people who do get elected accountable so we can build black power. Black dollars, okay, is the denominator for black power. You'll never get any black power without organized black dollars.
You know, I sadly to say, I've been watching some things.
You know, he keep talking about black dollars, black dollars, black dollars, black dollars. But at the same time, it's to a point where it's like, Umar, black people do this every day. They are withholding their black dollars when they need to withhold their black dollars. But the problem, Umar, is this right here, Umar. What are you doing to help the entire black community? That's the question. As a black man who so-called is the most requested speaker, black speaker in America, what are you doing to make change in our community? See, we sit back and we talk about what the white man is not doing for us. But what are you doing for us, Umar? That's the question. What are you doing? I'm not going to get into your school thing because that's not what this video is all about. I could easily get into the school thing, but I'm not going to get into that. So my thing is, why do so-called black leaders sit around and always want to critique and criticize what the white man is supposed to be doing for us, but they're not doing nothing for us? And see, that's my problem with Umar. He's not doing anything for the black community. He's not. But he criticizing everybody else. That's a problem. And my thing about this also is, in which he haven't said it, which I'm pretty sure he's not going to say it, but Umar is not going to vote. So why sit around and talk about political parties when you're not going to vote? When you don't care about voting? When you don't care about being a part of the political process and vote? See, that's another thing that Umar has to realize. You can't sit back and encourage people not to vote when you won't change. You can't change shit if you don't vote. I don't give a fuck who you are. White, black, purple, green, or whatever. If you don't fucking vote, you can't change nothing. But this is what Umar is really leaning towards, not voting. But they want to sit here and complain about the system. But they don't want to vote. Do you realize if more black people voted, we actually could make a real difference? Then we make a difference now, but we really could make a bigger difference if at least 60% of the black population voted. Now, there are so-called 37 million blacks in this country. 37 million. So just think about this right here. On average, during the election year, there's probably 120 plus million people who vote. Think about it. Just imagine if 50% of black people actually went out and voted. We could be very powerful in this country. 37 million black people in this country, from the statistics. Half of those people voted. That's almost 19 million people voting. Do you realize how much change we can make in this country? Do you realize how we can change this country if we actually voted? The governorships, the senators, the congressmen. We could actually control a lot of different things if we actually went out and voted. But our so-called black leaders don't want to say that, like Umar Johnson. And I'm saying he's a leader because he do got some influence over some people. But if they push that narrative to get out and vote more, we could have even more control of this country. But they don't do that because they don't vote. That's the problem. But let's go and listen to some more of this garbage.
YouTube that have been so disturbing to me because some people have been trying to drag on Dr. Umar Johnson, and they look like clowns. And I went back and forth with this one person that was writing the post, and I was saying, how do you get so much pleasure trying to bring down another black man? You know, I said, don't you understand that when you the white people have used dissension and
Let me tell you something. I'm sick and tired of that excuse also. When people say we're trying to bring in a black man. No, we're not trying to bring in a black man. We try to save black people from this black man. That's what we're trying to do. So I'm sick and tired of that old saying is when you got a fucking dirty black man out there trying to fucking hurt other black men, it's not about destroying that black man. It's not about bringing that black man down. It's about saving the black community from that black man. That's what it's all about. Umar Johnson is not doing anything to help the black community. Umar Johnson having proved himself to be worthy of not bringing down. That's a problem. But we got black people like this young man, like this gentleman right here, who's saying that we try to bring down another black man. No. We are trying to save other black people from being scammed by this black man. That's what we're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do, rather. I'm tired of that bullshit. When we got black people who try to hurt other black people, it's not about bringing them down. It's about saving other black people, from these scammers, from these devils. That's what it's about. Bottom line.
Deception and discrimination to try to divide black people. And when you do that, you are part of that tool that they use to divide us. But some people just want to continue to do that. And then they want to drag Dr. Umar for soliciting money for the school. But then at the end of their video, they ask the people to give them money so they can continue clowning them.
Now, this is my problem with the school. I'm gonna talk about the school. I said what I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about it. This is the problem with school. If you're a businessman and you are steadily sinking money into a project that you're not going to see a profit from, why would you keep sinking money into that venture? Why? Why would you do that? See, the problem with the school is Umar is keep asking for money after money after money after money after money, but no one is seeing a return on that money. Now, if you somewhat know business, who will keep seeking money into a business where you're not seeing any return for your money? Bottom line. Bottom line. See, these people think you should be stupid. These people think they keep donating and donating and donating and donating and donating, but you don't see no progress. This dude bought this school, in February of 2019. Here it is August of 2020, and there's still no progress on that school. But no one has the right to criticize this guy. No one has the right to criticize this guy. It'll be different if he showed some improvement on the school. After having the school for over a year, almost a year and a half, you would say, okay, he's showing progress. He's taking that money and he's showing progress. But this guy's not showing no progress, and he keep asking for money. Come on, man. Come on. Let's keep it real. There are some issues there. What smart black businessman you gonna keep sinking money into a business when you're not seeing no return? What's wrong with these people? It's crazy.
Look at the contradiction. Look at the contradiction.
Is it too late for blacks to leverage their finances in this political action?
As long as we're alive, it's never too late. It's never too late. But time is running out, though, because you get to a certain point in this struggle where if you haven't done enough to liberate yourself politically and economically, you become almost a permanent second-class citizen, a permanent underclass. And we got to understand something. America.
Now, this is another thing also. This guy's talking about finances. This guy's talking about black people should be more financial independent, should use their leverage when it comes to their finances to support people, right? Now, I'm sorry to say this, but why would you take any advice from this guy when it comes to finances and leverage your ability to change things when it comes to that? This is the same guy who's been talking about opening up a school for years. This is the same guy who bought a school back in 2019 and have shown no financial gain on that school since he bought it. But we're actually sitting here listening to this guy talk about what black people need to do to gain political power through finances. Now, myself personally, why would I take advice from this guy when he's not showing that he's even financially responsible to do anything correct? I'm a little lost here. We keep talking about finances, but this is the wrong guy to be talking about this subject. Really is.
It's very clever, because what America does is it knows how to train its immigrants people.
You know, we have a lot of racism still in this country, true enough. We really do. So I'm not gonna really harp on that too much. But my thing with what he just said is a defeatist attitude. It's a defeatist attitude. It really is. Instead of us going out there and getting what we deserve, he want to hop on saying that the Asians, the Hispanics, the whoever immigrant comes to this country, they come to this country, they keep us down. Well, they're taught to keep us down once they get here to this country. You know, I'm gonna disagree totally with that because I don't think that's the case. I think what's keeping us down is people like him. People who want to keep talking about us being down in the gutter. People like him who's not really trying to do anything positive for the community, but to bring the community down. And you know what? I'm not going to play any more of this interview, but what I'm saying is right here to Umar. As a so-called black educated man, you are the problem in the black community. You're the reason why we have a hard time getting to the next level. Because of frauds like you. You sit around and want to use racism as a way for you to get financial gain. That's what you do. That's why I feel like you are the biggest issue in the black community. You're not trying to help the black community. Because if you really was trying to help the black community, you know what? You would have built that school years ago. Better yet, once you purchased that school in February of 2019, you would have showed a lot of improvement on that school by August of 2020. But you haven't. You know, you want to sit around here and talk about the white man and what they're not doing for the black community. What is Umar doing for the black community? Besides ripping the black community off. Where's your progress at, Umar? Show us what you're doing to improve the black lives of this country. You don't vote. You don't care about voting. You try to get other black people to not to vote, knowing that MLK, Dr. Martin Luther King died for black people to vote. But you're running around the country and you preaching against that. But at the same time, you're not showing what you're doing for the black community, but taking their money, asking for donations. That's what you're doing, Umar. You don't see a problem in that? Why don't you show black people something positive that you're doing? Get the school open. Get the school built. That's what you can do for black people. But that's all I have to say. Thank y'all for stopping by. I appreciate it. Mark, Anthony, I appreciate y'all stopping by. But Umar, wake up and understand you are part of the problem in the black community. Think about that.